Hey guys, here with my Buick Allure, and I'm gonna do I'm like halfway done aftermarket stereo install, and yeah, thought I'd show you guys what I'm doing. This is my car. It's a '09 Buick Allure. So that's what the wiring looks like right now. So I cut off the factory radio harness. So that guy was, I just completely cut it off. Here is the old radio that was in there. There's no aux or Bluetooth or anything, so just thought there's no way in hell I'm gonna drive without that. So I'm putting in a new one. And yeah, as you can see in the back, there's that's kind of hard to see, but there's two wire harnesses going into it, and then there's one port here for the antenna. A lot of GM vehicles, it's going to be pretty much the same. Yeah, so this is the harness. This is going into the Pioneer here, and then I haven't soldered them yet, but these are I've sort of pre-made the connections here. It was a bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be, because of there's OnStar, and so there was a bunch of wires that basically you're not going to be able to use with a aftermarket stereo. As you can see, there's a bunch of buttons on the steering wheel here that normally would control the stereo, but with the aftermarket it doesn't really give you the option. But there is, I think there's an adapter or something you could buy, but it's like 120 bucks, and I just didn't feel like spending like all that money, and I really never have used like steering wheel controls, and all these wires here were originally plugged in. So as you can see, I basically have no use for these guys anymore. I'm assuming these wires were to control where the steering wheel controls. So to control like volume, you know, like next, and like to switch channels and all that. So that I won't be needing. And these here, I'm not really sure. This is the second harness. It's right here. This is the other harness that was plugged in to the stereo. But there's only two wires, and honestly, don't really have much idea as to what they're for. But I already tested all this. I haven't soldered it yet, but it's good to just tie them together and just I plugged in the stereo, and everything works fine. So yeah, and I googled the wiring. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll just show you guys, and then you can pause the video if this is for a 2007 Buick Allure stereo wiring diagram. So this is the Pioneer colors. So those ones there coming out of the black, or the black harness there. And then, as you can see further up, it's kind of hard to tell, but see like this part here, that's coming out of the car. And then I'll just show you here. So see, I twisted them together and then just that's so I could test it before soldering. Okay, so I just googled Buick Lacrosse stereo wiring diagram, and basically got this this whole row here, the Buick wire colors. Okay, and then Pioneer equivalent. This is the universal. They're all universal aftermarket colors here. They're like OEI or whatever, I forget the name, but yeah, they're all universal. So yeah, if you've got a Buick Allure or possibly a similar GM vehicle or another Buick, it very well might be the same exact colors for your car as well. So yeah, pretty straightforward. It's kind of, there we go. Yeah, so if you want to pause it, some of the wires are going to be slightly similar to, there's like 2 gray wires coming out, so it's a bit confusing, but the way I did it is just when you take the factory harness and you look at the wires coming out, you can tell, you can distinguish like which one is which, because you'll notice that for the like, let's say left front positive and left front negative, they'll be adjacent to each other in the harness, coming out of the harness. So let's say, for example, left front positive is tan, and then left front negative is gray. Okay, so you can see there's a tan wire and the gray wire there that I pulled up, as you can see. But what's confusing, or what confused me at first, was the fact that there's also another gray wire. I'll pull these out of the way. There's another gray wire here. As you can see, here, I'll point to it right here. This guy is also gray. But the way you can tell is that these are adjacent to each other. So these are going to be both the front, left front speaker wires. The gray being negative and tan being positive. Okay. So now that we got all that covered, yeah, so this isn't as straightforward as you might think. It might, well, yeah, no, I guess, yeah, no, because even if you did have a wire harness, it's a bit confusing, because the problem with this car is that there's no switch wire. So there's 2 power wires going to the stereo. Here, I'll show you. So there's the yellow wire here. This is the constant power, the 12-volt constant power here, connected to the red. And the way I found that out was I took a multimeter and connected, or probed like every wire, and then saw which one had 12. It was around 12.2 volt. And then, so that was this wire. But then I also went, even with the keys turned, you should have another wire showing 12 volts. The switched one that comes on with the ignition. So as I was turning the key, there was no other wire that came on. But you need to have that for the stereo in order to turn it on and off, because this constant wire is really just to that serves the memory in the stereo, to keep like all your presets and just like basic settings that you have in the stereo, so it doesn't reset every time you turn the car on. So yeah, that's what that's for. And then the switched wire is, where is it? Where is it? Oh, yes. So this is the switch wire here, this red wire. Yeah, so normally the switch wire is red, and then the constant power is yellow. Hey guys, I forgot, so I kind of ran into an issue. So I had it hooked up to the AC, or the temperature control unit, and the issue was that it only came on when the key was on the setting right before. Fuck, my cat's just got her dirty paws all over my car seat. Anyway, but so I don't know, it was kind of annoying because what happened when you turned the ignition off, or like the engine off, the radio would come off as well, because when you turn it off, it skips one of the key positions. And so it was just annoying because every time I turned off the car and I still wanted to listen to radio, it would just turn off as well, and then you'd have to turn it one more click. I forget the name of the key position right before the... Hey, go get up. Freaking cars, or my cat was just scratching at my seats. Okay, she's gone, we're back, everything's good. Don't need this on right now. But, so instead I decided to tap into the sunroof fuse. And as you can see, there is no sunroof, but because they're on a factory line, they all have a sunroof fuse. So what I did was I basically tapped into the sunroof fuse, which is a 20 amp, so that's more than enough. You normally want around a 10 amp circuit for the radio, because well, there's a 10 amp fuse on the back of the stereo, so assuming that's about what you want for a fuse. So, and there's not even any motor for the sunroof, so that's more than enough amperage for the radio or stereo. So yeah, so basically you buy a like a fuse tapper. I bought it at Canadian Tire. You can buy it at I bought it at Parts Source, but you can get it pretty much any automotive parts store. And so yeah, so I'm gonna reconnect the AC or the temperature control to the back to the switched power. And yeah, so the thing about the sunroof is it comes on in the accessory mode, but the temperature control only comes on when you have all the electronics on, which is skipped when you turn off the engine. So then you have to turn it back on to that setting. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, it's just a bit annoying. So that way, if I turn off the engine, the radio will still stay on, and I won't have to turn it back on again. So it was just a bit annoying. So I thought I'd do this, and yeah, and I'll turn the camera around so you guys can see kind of what I'm doing here. I already kind of started feeding the wire, and I'm just routing it right now and putting zip ties on, making it nice and neat. So I'll show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so see, this is the fuse box on the passenger side here. There's a lot of accessories and stuff. And yeah, through process of elimination, I basically just tested all the fuses, and the sunroof fuse ended up being right below this gray box here, right here. So here, I'll show you what it looks like. So yeah, so this is what, so the sunroof fuse is a 20 amp, and then this is the fuse that connects into the switched power line here going to the stereo, which is, so you can see it's being ran through here behind the glove box, and then into the dash right here and out through there. And yeah, I'm just right here. I don't know if you can see the zip tie. Anyway, but yeah, I'm just routing right now. You can see one zip tie there. I've got one more down there, and yeah, just making it clean. And yeah, you want to make sure not to run it in front of here, which is the airbag, where the airbag comes out. So yeah, just steer clear. And yeah, just a little advice: try to run whatever cables or whatever you're adding in, like, you know, like a sub or whatever. Try to run it along the same line that they took in the factory where all the other wires are. It's just easy and a safe way to do it, just to follow that line. That way you know for sure, like, you're not in the way of anything or whatnot. So yeah. So yeah, this is what it looks like. There's two prongs. This is where these guys go into the original slot, which is, so two up from the 2 amp here, right below this gray box. That's where the 20 amp sunroof fuse used to sit, and that's exactly where you're gonna put the fuse tapper add a circuit little device that you see right there. And yeah, yeah. So yeah, this was the inline fuse tapper thing that I set up for the sunroof fuse. And this is the switched wire here, the red wire there. And yeah, soldered it on, and that's what it looks like. It just keeps going out through there, underneath the glove box, and into the fuse box right there. So yeah, now I'll be putting this all back together. I'm gonna tape this up a bit, tape these loose wires up, make it nice and clean. And yeah, well, I guess I could just film that. I guess I could just film myself doing it. Oh shit, I need some, yeah, I guess I can just close the ignition off. I don't need that one. And I can, just make my life easier, I'll just unclip the radio. Don't need that right now. And there we go. Put this on the ground for now. Whoops. Alright, I'm just gonna go grab some electrical tape. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Got my handy dandy electrical tape. And yeah, I'm just gonna clean that up a bit. So we don't have wires as exposed, and less chance of someone getting tangled and possibly ripped. So yeah, just gonna tape around this whole thing here, pretty much. Probably won't be ever taking this apart again, except maybe if I were to salvage the radio once this car dies. Which is kind of sad to think about, but you know, happens eventually to every car. So, but for the time being, just, you know, you want to make sure everything's as clean and secure as possible. So there's kind of some different length wires, so that's why they're kind of like bulging like that. But that's fine, especially with this electrical tape that I'm putting over. It'll do a good job of protecting this. Never have too much electrical tape. And voila. There we go. Wasn't really a clean break, so let's do it again. Alright, so that's on. Fuck, it's looking good. Pretty much ready to go. Just examining the wires, making sure everything looks good. This, I don't know what that is, that's garbage. And yeah, oh yeah, and then I've got this radio adapter thing, because this is a, you know, a GM car, Buick Allure or Lacrosse, so I'm gonna plug this into the GM port here. There we go. And yeah, I'm pretty much set to start plugging stuff in. Okay, so, and voila, it's all good to go. And yeah, final product looks pretty good. Really happy with it. And this time the radio comes on with the accessory mode, so freaking mint, bud. Yeah, hope you guys liked the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up. And if you want, subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.